Well, there she is. Kamala 2.0 has landed right in the middle of Virginia. It could be the last straw. There's a lot I'll put up with to live in the beautiful Commonwealth of Virginia, but this might be a step too far. Not only that, but over the weekend, this is her at a Juneteenth celebration on Friday. Over the weekend, she and her fellow Democrats spent the weekend crafting a budget. Whereas we heard a lot about her being quite the moderate Democrat and vetoing a lot of her pals' bills this past legislative session, guess what? They're coming back in the form of a budget. So we're going to talk about what's in that budget, how cringy she is, and also you want to stay through to the end because my husband and I are on a quest to find a conservative part of Virginia that we might want to move to. Anyway, hey, if you're new here, I'm Teri. I'm a fed up Gen Xer and a ticked off Virginian who has decided to get behind the microphones so you and I can talk about the truth. If you are interested in Democrats, cringy ones like Abigail Spanberger, what's going on in Virginia and all sorts of leftist craziness, you're in the right spot. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, smash it like the kids say. Smash that subscribe button and stick around because things are moving fast around these parts. Welcome to Smart Girl Politics. The first thing we want to talk about is that budget. And for that breakdown, I am going to let Tim Anderson do the heavy lifting. Now, Tim is a former delegate from the Virginia Beach area. He's a lawyer. He's also I believe, if not a gun shop owner, he definitely is somebody who trains people in several different states on how to use firearms, how to protect your Second Amendment rights. He is a great guy, and he is talking about this budget that has been passed. Now, as I said in the opening, there was a lot of things that Spanberger vetoed this year, and people are like, oh my gosh, she's willing to buck the Democrat establishment. Not so much. Here's our first one, and there's a few from Tim. Dems, this is the budget. We heard a lot about how things might go bankrupt. The state might have to close because they couldn't agree on a budget. Now, they couldn't agree because everybody's trying to cram their pork and pet projects into it. So all those bills that we heard about, like her taking a great stand, Abigail Spanberger taking a great stand against them, not so much. They're all back. Marijuana, all of that. It's all back. So one of the things Tim talks about, Democrats are allocating funds to automatically restore felon voting rights upon release from incarceration before voters have even voted on the amendment. Democrats are saying, why wait for voters to approve the constitutional amendment? That's silly. Let's just go ahead and do it starting July 1st. Now, as you may know, we had a referendum on gerrymandering that got torpedoed by the United States Supreme Court. There are three other amendments that we Virginians will be voting on in November during the November midterm elections, one of them being whether to restore voting rights to felons. I don't know why we're even doing that because they've gone ahead, and I'm recording this on the afternoon of June 22nd. And at this point, the House of Delegates and the state Senate have passed and approved this bill. The Republicans said no to it. Every Democrat, of course, says yes to it. It now goes to Spanberger's desk where she's going to sign it because that was the plan all along. So felons can now vote in Virginia. Super duper. Let's see what else is in this big old budget, this big bodacious budget of Abigail Spanberger's. The budget spends taxpayer money to hire new government employees and implement Virginia's adult use recreational marijuana marketplace. Instead of debating this policy on its own merits, lawmakers are using the budget to fund and build the bureaucracy necessary to launch it. This is called putting the cart before the horse. You budget after law is passed, not in reverse. They are creating the bureaucracy before they pass the law. And in fact, on a vetoed law, they are also spending anticipated revenue from the cannabis market that, doesn't actually exist and has not been passed into law. Seems odd. Well, it is odd, but that's the way they do it because they can't win by the rules. They have to change the rules. They don't want to pass the legislation. They'll just stick it in the budget. Great stuff. Here's more Tim Anderson. The budget creates a permanent state of climate bureaucracy. No law passed, but an entire new agency, the State Climate Office. Created it in the budget. No legislative action, no debate, just tucked away on page 100. So how this is supposed to work is that we're supposed to have a public debate about these things and not just stuff them into the budget. There should be robust debate about it. There should be a chance for constituents to tell their elected representatives how they feel about it, but they don't care. Virginia Democrats do not care. They're going to pass it no matter what. They're always going to find a way to make it happen. And that's what they're doing right here. They're shoving this crap into the budget that we, you and me, get to fund. And here's another one from Tim. The budget quietly rewrites our GGI, not by ending it, by laundering it. Government takes the money from your electric bill, keeps more than half, and sends some back so politicians can claim they helped with affordability. It's the same scam every time. Create the pain, collect the money, keep a large share, send a fraction back, take credit for the refund. If anyone buys this as relief from Democrats, give me $10. I will kick you in the then give you $5 back. I will provide this service to any Democrat that wants a Tim Anderson rebate. That's a great point that he's making. What he's really saying here is that you and I are footing the bill for a long list of far left priorities: felons voting, crappy climate, faux climate nonsense being stuffed into our energy bills that we're going to pay, we're going to foot the bill for, and the kickbacks are going to go to the Democrats so that they can keep getting elected. We knew this was coming. We knew that Abigail Spanberger was not a moderate. We knew that these bills, despite the fact that she vetoed some things from her very good friends and this big thing, oh, Louise Lucas is really mad at her, she's not popular, she was always going to give them what they wanted. They were always going to get their way for one simple reason. Abigail Spanberger wants to be president. To be president, she probably needs to be a valid vice presidential candidate in 2028. She will do anything to do that. So she will give Louise Lucas what she wants. She will give Don Scott what she wants. She will give every Democrat out there what they want. She is no moderate, and she's cringy AF, as the kids used to say. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about Virginia and whether it's worth staying here, because as I've talked about before, I live in Northern Virginia. Now, I have lived in Northern Virginia a long time, a lot longer than these weirdos have been here, a lot longer than Abigail Spanberger's been. They've imported a lot of really strange people into Northern Virginia, and nothing is stranger than the white woman, the white liberal woman. So I've been living amongst them a long time, a very long time. I understand them very well. Now, just because I understand them doesn't mean I want to be around them. So, particularly in the last year or so, my husband and I have been trying to decide what's next. We're getting of a certain age. Our kids are older. They're moving out. So, kind of ready. We're not retired, but maybe isn't the best place to be right now, and particularly with what the Democrats have tried to do since Spanberger has taken office and with the gerrymandering. I mean, there's nothing worse than thinking that Fairfax County, a politician in Fairfax County, should decide what happens in Shenandoah or another part of the state. It's absolutely ludicrous. So it got us thinking. We actually went to Richmond for a weekend in May. It was our anniversary. We decided to go to Richmond. We have a daughter that lives down there and another one that's moving down there. So we're like, let's go down there. It's nice, historic, beautiful weather. Great food. We know that. We know it's weird. My daughter went to VCU. She went to VCU Arts. We know it's weird there. And it's weird. And it was weird. But we're like, let's take it for a test ride. We can't say it's weird until we take it for a test ride. It's weird. It was a nice weekend. Great food. We went to see where Patrick Henry made his "Give Me Liberty or Give Me Death" speech. And I think that ignited something in us, thinking about how, do we want to leave Virginia altogether? My husband grew up here too. We were both Fairfax Countyans. Do we want to leave here altogether, or do we stay? And if we stay, do we want to be around people who are more like us? Because God knows the last time that was here, up in here in Northern Virginia. I cannot remember the last time that I felt represented. I have Democrats representing me now, and it changed very rapidly, which is why, again, I always say, we got to talk about Virginia, because you think it's not going to happen to you, what's happening here, it can. But we're trying to decide if we want to go to another part of the state where there are more patriots who believe like we do, not patriots who think that bringing in foreigners and, having Democrats shove crap down our throats is the way to do things. That's not where we're at. So we've been testing out parts of the state. Now, what we did this past weekend was to go to Lynchburg. And the reason we went to Lynchburg is because of the way they voted on this referendum on the gerrymandering. They were some of the districts there in that area, and particularly where Liberty University is, they were almost 100%, I believe, against the gerrymander. amendment that we voted on back on April 21st, which made us think, okay, there may be other parts of the state. We might have our little Patrick Henrys growing here, like where we need to fight for this beautiful Commonwealth of ours. And as we drive around, you all who are living in other parts of the state, I mean, Loudoun County is pretty beautiful on its own, but you guys have some beautiful, beautiful areas in other parts of the states, and we want to see it. So we went to Lynchburg. Very interesting place. The kids were not in school, so it was kind of maybe not as crowded as it normally is. But it's a beautiful weekend of great food, not in your face. Now, there's definitely, because there's a lot of young people there, definitely a vibe of some weirdness, of young people, weirdness, nose rings. Not a ton, not a ton, but there's definitely some of it there because it's a lot of young people who are there for college. Now, we decided to kind of farm out a little bit and go Campbell County. My husband's a huge fan of Campbell County, and I believe their sheriff is one of the sheriffs who is not going to enforce the assault weapons ban. So absolutely beautiful. We went to Bedford. I wanted to see learn more about the Bedford boys. So in our search for that, we came across the D-Day Museum, which I'm going to insert some of the footage that I took there. If you haven't been there, absolutely go. That is beautiful. And it makes me think to get out of Northern Virginia, to get out of the D.C. bubble that exists here to a certain extent, and to see just the absolute raw beauty of Virginia is making us, I think, want to stay to fight and find those patriots who are going to fight, because we see what they're trying to do. They're trying to get felons to vote. They're trying to bankrupt you through energy prices. They have no intention of making things more affordable for you. But I believe that there are patriots. I believe they are waking up. I think they have woken up. I think there are parts of Virginia that might be where you go to really think, how does this fight go? Northern Virginia is not a stronghold for this. So we're taking a look. So I just want to kind of keep you included on that, because I believe that Northern Virginia is kind of not for me anymore, even though I'm an OG. For here in Northern Virginia, it's not for me anymore. I would like to be around some people who are normal. And gosh, it was nice. We were only there for 2 days, but there's no politics. It was World Cup. It was USA jerseys. It was people having a great time. And the political stuff was just not there. And God bless, that was wonderful. Drop me a note. Let me know about your part of the state. What is this a good place for us to take refuge? Because I think it's time to leave Northern Virginia. I'm not ready to go altogether out of the state. Let me know about your part of the state. What's good about it? What's bad about it? Should we take a look? Let us know where to go. And I'll try and grab more footage in the future. But that Lynchburg area, beautiful, some great food, some really nice people. We had a great time. Anyway, just drop me a comment. Let me know what you're thinking about it. While you're there, hit that subscribe button. And I'm going to link a couple other videos so that you can kind of keep up with what's going on here in Virginia, because it's nutty, it's moving fast, it's crazy, but it's a place worth fighting for. And I hope that you all think so too. Anyway, I am Teri. This is Smart Girl Politics. Thank you for joining. As always, be safe out there until I see you next. Okay? Bye.